Hello students. So today we are going to discuss the third chapter, which is to be known as the Delhi Sultanate. So here in this video we can see the whole kind of Rajput dynasty who were ruled over on Delhi, and how that this Delhi becomes the center for trade and transportation. This was become the central idea in this chapter. So take a look at the table, and Delhi first become the capital of the kingdom under the Rajputas. So these Tomar Rajput you can find out in Rajasthan to today's life, which were also the Chauhan dynasty. You will have you will have Chauhan dynasty's ancestor over there at Ajmer. It was under the Tomar and Chauhans that Delhi becomes an important commercial center. Many rich Jaina merchants live in the city and constructed several temples. Coins minted here called Deliwal had a wide circulation. The transformation of Delhi into a capital that controlled vast areas of the subcontinent started with the foundation of Delhi. So the transportation and all kind of capital and control, which all formed in Delhi. That's why this Delhi become the center part of the in Sultan's time or in the history. And today's we can say that India is the country where the capital is Delhi, obviously. So these all the factor which belongs over there, and it becomes the reality. So the ruler of the Delhi, you have a Rajputana dynasty, Tomars, Ananga, Pala, Chauhan and Prithviraj Chauhan, and then comes the early Turkish rulers, Kutubuddin Aykub, then Samsuddin, Tulmish, then Razia, Ghiyasuddin, Bulban, Khalji dynasty, Jalaluddin Khilji, Alauddin Khilji, these all dynasty people. And then comes the Tughlaq dynasty, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad Tughlaq, Firuz Shah Tughlaq, and Sayyid dynasty, Khizr Khan, Lodi dynasty, Balul Lodi. Finding out about the Delhi Sultanate, although inscription, coined, and architects provide a lot of information, especially valuable are histories, singular, Tawarikh, plural, written in Persian. The author of Tawarikh were learnt men. So there comes the generation to generation after that. These author come to forward and write about the Delhi Sultanate, and that's why we know about the Delhi. So uh, from garrison town to empire, the expansion of Delhi Sultanate. So here in the early 13th century, this is all about the early 13th century. These Delhi Sultanate is rarely went beyond the heavily towns, and those towns were occupied. Garrison sultans rarely control all that hinterland of the cities, were dependent upon trade, tribute, or plunder for supplies. Was difficult to control garrison towns in distant Bengal and Sindh from Delhi rebellions. So, controlling garrison towns in distance from Bengal directly and Delhi was extremely difficult. And rebellions wars even had a weather could snap fragile communication routes. The state was also challenged by Mongol invasion from Afghanistan and by governors who rebelled at any sign of the Sultan's weakness. The Sultanate barely survived these challenges, its expense occurring during the reign of Ghiyasuddin Balban, Alauddin Khilji, and Muhammad Tughlaq. So these all kind of dynasties were governed over the period of that particular time. War, rebels were fought against these kind of dynasty who wants to gather and occupy Delhi always. The first set of campaigns along the internal frontier of the Sultanate aimed at consolidating the hinterlands of the garrison towns. So during these campaigns, forests were cleared in the Yamuna, and hunters gathered and patrolists expelled from their habitats. So, what happened during those times? These Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad Tughlaq first set to campaign along the internal frontier of the Sultanate. Aimed, what was the aim of that particular Sultanate is? At consolidating the garrison town and campaign involving that forest being cleared in the Ganga Yamuna Doab and expulsion of hunter gatherer and pastoralists from their habitat lands were given to peasant agriculture encouraged new fortresses. Garrison towns and towns were established to protect trade routes to promote regional trades. Second expansion occurred along the external frontier of the Sultanate military expedition, and all these things were happen over the period of time when Muhammad Tughlaq in their campaigning Sultanate armies captured elephant, horses and slaves. So Muhammad Tughlaq reign 150 years after some somewhat humble beginning. Those were the time when this Muhammad Tughlaq, the armies, he has armies, and that's why he is become the king of Delhi. And Delhi Sultanate had merged across a large part of the subcontinents. So here you can see this is the masjid and the mosque in Arabic. So after the rule of this thing, then comes the Delhi Sultanate built several mosques. You can also find at the present time there there are several mosques over there. So we have a closer look and consolidation under the Khilji and Tughlaqs. So when the Khilji dynasty and the Tughlaq dynasty comes, what was the situation of Delhi? So these Khilji dynasty and Tughlaq dynasty were the Delhi time. Early Delhi Sultanate, especially Iltutmish, did not appoint aristocrats and landed chieftains as governors. So, Sultanate needed reliable governors and administration. That's why, rather appointing aristocratic governor or Sultanate, they appointed governors which are uh, chieftain as a sorry, rather than appointing aristocratic and landed chieftain as a governor, the early Delhi Sultanate, especially Iltutmish, favored their special slaves purchased for military service called bandagan in Persian. So these bandagan becomes the governor over a period of time, and that's why they were carefully trained to man some of the most important political offices in the kingdom, since they were totally dependent upon their master. So Sultan sometimes could not trust over them. So then comes the Khiljis and Tughlaqs continue to use Bangadans, Bandagan, and also raised people of humble birth who were often their clients to high political positions. They were appointed as generals and governors However, this also introduced an element of political instability. Slaves and clients were loyal to their masters and patrons, but not as a result accession of a new monarch. So these all kind of Bangadans was very faithful to their master. Still, those things could not happen which the master Khilji or Tughlaq wanted to make it happen. As a result, the accession of a new monarch often saw conflict between old and the new nobility. So then there comes the kind of intrigue which was formed by some people towards Tughlaq and Khiljis. Like the earlier Sultanate, the Khilji and the Tughlaq monarchs appointed military commanders as the governor of territories of varying sizes. So, the duty of these kind of these kind of territory people is far from the regial to regial. Means these land were called Ikta and their holders were called Iktidar or Mukti. So the duty of Muktis was to and lead military campaign and maintain law and order in their Iktas. So in exchange for their military services, the Muktis collected the revenues of their assignments as a salary. They also paid their soldiers from these revenues. Control over muktis was most effective if their office was not inheritable and if they were assigned iktas for a short period of time before being shifted. These harsh conditions of services were rigorously imposed during the reign of Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad Tughlaq. So they also paid the soldier from revenues. So those revenues comes and the control of those revenues is held on muktis. So these are appointed people by by those kings and which is they are known as muktis. So Alauddin Khulji and Muhammad Tughlaq. The Delhi was attacked twice in 12th century in 1299 and 13th century, and 13th century the three as a defensive measure. Alauddin Khilji raised a large standing army. The Sultanate was attacked in the early years of Muhammad Tughlaq's reign. The Mongol army was defeated. Muhammad Tughlaq was confident about the strength of his army and his resources to plan an attack on Transoxia. So students, you can read it by your own because this is something which can provide you a more ability that how the Tughlaq and Alauddin Khulji was come into existence and they goes after the after then they wipe out and Delhi becomes the freedom for other people. This so we have this last portion which is quite important. Sultanate in the 15th and 16th centuries. Take a look at table number 1 again. This is the table number 1, Alauddin Khilji. And you will notice that after the Tughlaqs, the Sayyid and Lodi dynasties ruled from Delhi and Agra until 1526. And by the Jaunpur, Bengal, Malwa, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and the entire South India had independent rulers who established flourishing states and prosperous capitals. So we come to know that Agra, these Tughlaq dynasty and the Alauddin Khilji and this Said and Lodi dynasty ruled from Delhi and Agra until 1526. By then, Jaunpur, Bengal, Malwa, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and the entire South India had independent rulers who established flourishing states and prosperous capitals. This was also the period which saw the emergence of new ruling groups like the Afghans and the Rajputs. Some of the states established in this period were small but powerful and extremely well administered. Sher Shah Sur in 1540 to 1545 he rolled over on and started his career as a manager of a small territory for his uncle in Bihar and eventually challenged and defeated the Mughal emperor Humayun. Sher Shah captured Delhi and established his own dynasty, although the Suri dynasty ruled for only 15 years. It introduced an administration that borrowed elements from Alauddin Khilji and made them more efficient. Sher Shah administration became the model followed by the great Emperor Akbar when he consolidated the Mughal Empire. So this is how Delhi was ruled over by so many kings and so many dynasties. They were appointed some governor. They want appointed some muktis. They were appointed some bandagans. Bandagan, and those was the rule. Those were become the pioneer mediator for these kind of region which was comes into the king's power, and that's why Delhi was become very famous because many dynasties come over the long since period of 12 centuries, and then comes the Delhi Sultanate, then comes the Mughal Emperor. So here you will have this end of the chapter, the Delhi Sultanates, and today's life Delhi is democratic and we are the member of that democratic parliament. So students, chapter is about how many dynasties were comes and they ruled over on Delhi, and so please do read it and research over on it. You will also find the next journey of this particular chapter. Okay, and if you have any query then please do ask.